Hey everyone, this is Robert Keens with goldsilverpros.com, and I'm here with a very special guest today. It's Terry Filbert, CEO and Chairman of East Asian Minerals. How are you doing today, Terry?
I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting us to basically share the East Asia opportunity with you and your viewers especially.
So, Terry, tell us a little bit about your project. I know that you've got a really good gold and silver project out there in Indonesia, and I know that there's a lot of investment that's gone into this over the year. I know Eric Sprott has invested in this. The Tocqueville Fund has invested in this. Tell us a little bit about that project and why investors should be looking at your company.
Well, actually, East Asia is a junior gold developer with two actually high-quality gold assets in Indonesia with combined 3.3 million gold ounces based on 43-101 reports.
Okay.
With a near-term focus in upgrading its Sangihe gold project exploration license to production status on its 200,000 gold ounce resource, with an objective to start a heap leach operation and start pouring gold by year's end. Then we're going to be growing this resource through cash flow, including conducting an infill drilling program to bring 835,000 gold ounces inferred resource from a 2010 43-101 into measured and indicated status. As well as work with the Aceh provisional government to restructure our Miwa gold project license, the other one, in order to restart that project and start recovering start building on the inferred 3.1 million ounce project resource. And like you said, smart money's already in here. We have Sprott and Tocqueville. They're holding diluted 20% and management only 10%.
Okay. And did you recently rework your agreement with the Indonesian government? And if so, what advantages does that new agreement give you for these projects?
No, our agreements with the Indonesian government haven't changed. We have a COW, a contract of works in Sangihe, which basically that project is, we're just finishing up the environmental permit, which is called the ANDAL. And that'll be done next week or so. So basically, that's finishing that part of the contract. And then we have actually that just to pay off our pay the taxes due, and then they will issue us the license. And the license is for 30 years. And it's basically a contract directly with the Indonesian government, unlike the current IUPs, which have been offered since 2009, which are a straight license, and they're not as flexible as the COW.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more detail about the sites that you have out there. I know you have two main sites that you're looking at. Where are you guys with that? Have you done any drill work on that, or can you just tell us what your resource looks like for those?
Yeah, so basically on Sangihe, I started out looking at this project Sangihe for my own purchase. I actually had another mine up in Ratatuktuk already operating a heap leach operation. 2016, I was looking to expand. We approached East Asia, run by a different CEO at the time, of course, and they had signed contracts for us to buy the project. At the last moment, tried to back out on the project, on the contract. I then basically met with John Hathaway, who at Tocqueville was at that time the largest shareholder, and he persuaded me to take over the whole company. Since I was there in Indonesia, working in Indonesia for the last 10 years, they thought that we'd do a better job than someone that didn't live in the country, and in their mind really hadn't moved the project forward. So I was persuaded to basically bring Sangihe in. Also Miwa. They've asked, they're one of the big things they wanted to also bring Miwa back up. But Sangihe is in North Sulawesi, where I've been there for a number of years. Lived in Manado for a full year. Which is basically the capital, about 3.5 hours, from Ratatuktuk. And Ratatuktuk is where my mine was. And so basically, Miwa is up in Aceh province, which basically I have not worked in before. And actually didn't know much about Miwa when I took over the company. So we had to spend the last couple of years building our relationships with the governor's staff, the mining department, to be able to come up with a plan with the stakeholders how to move that forward.
Okay. And so you said you have about 3 million ounces resource. Is that correct?
In Sangihe, we have 200,000 resources in 2017 43-101 or 2010 43-101. Between the two resources, we show 835,000 ounces inferred. Actually, the first one I told you had 118,000 indicated. 58,000 are basically oxides indicated at surface. So that's a pit we'll be starting up right away because it's very quick to put in production, very inexpensive to process. But we'll also be drilling out the area in a 35,000 meter program that we believe will bring us 1 million+ ounces onto the books.
Gotcha. So looking at Sangihe here for a moment, I see in your presentation that you're looking at a cost about $836 an ounce. Is that your mining cost or is that your all-in
That's
cost?
all in. Basically, we should have less than $700 an ounce. Basically, by the time we start up the operation, start optimizing our costs. Also, I understand fuel has dropped by quite a bit in the
Right.
last since this COVID, so that brings our costs down quite a bit.
Yeah. Are there any implications from COVID as far as the mine goes? Is Indonesia
Well,
limiting?
once I have people on, most of the people I'll be hiring will be locally on the island, and they have a lot of mining experience. They actually go other parts of North Sulawesi to mine because there's a number of large gold mines in North Sulawesi. So actually, I'll have a local staff that basically doesn't have to travel back and forth. But right now, yes, getting people in and off the island, it takes 14 days to go through 14 days of quarantine.
Okay.
So it is basically slowing things down slightly for trying to get things done. But for the mining side, not really. The equipment will basically be brought in from North Sulawesi, and the same with the staff. Some of the staff, a lot of the staff will be local. So COVID has actually helped the company more than hurt it.
Okay.
Mainly because it's caused a lot of investment to go towards mining stocks such as ours instead of towards oil and gas or hotels or airlines. So it's actually, and it's also moved things along in the country too.
Yeah, the precious metals prices look like they're running a bit. So I'm going to do a share screen right here and just look at your stock price. I think you guys have done very well lately. A nice little bounce there since April. That's happening for a lot of the mining shares as well. Talk about how the rising gold and silver price is going to help you guys in terms of your profitability. I know we talked about $800 all-in cost. If gold gets to 2,000, what does that do for your project?
Well, also like I said, with oil, that was done back in 2018. Oil and gas, gas prices fuel prices have come down quite a bit. So our prices dropped by at least 10%, maybe more. So our margin on that end has gone up just for our costs, and the cost of everything is actually going down. At the same time, we're being paid in U.S. dollar equivalent, which is in gold. So our and rupiah basically has also gone down against the U.S. dollar. So our margins have been widening quickly. So as gold goes up, we end up with large 60-70% margins. So that basically allows us to reinvest into drilling programs to basically expand the mine faster.
Talk a little bit about the district you're in. I know you have the two sites that you're targeting. What does your land package look like, and what's your potential for expansion after you start getting these mines working?
Well, our CW covers 100,000 acres. 65,000 of those acres are gold bearing. Before I came into the company, they had explored drilling on about 5,000 acres. And so basically, we still have a lot of area, which we have a lot of illegals working on, which are taking on gold, but we haven't explored in detail. We are looking basically in the next year. And I see that you brought up our mine plan. We're basically looking to first start up this. The mine package itself is on 60 hectares, which is the two pits you see, the main pit and the auxiliary pit. And also the waste dump, and you'll see there's two heap leach pads. One will start right now, 100,000 tons, another which we'll add on next year, including the processing plant and then the equipment facilities. The yellow, red, and the blue boxes are part of the 835,000 ounce drilling program that we told you about that has it all inferred right now. We hope to bring that into measured and indicated.
Okay, good. So it looks like you guys have a lot of potential. What are next steps for the company? I know you said you may be trying to pour gold at the end of the year. I'm sorry, which of the two sites was that for?
Sangihe, everything's Sangihe. Miwa basically is going to be, we'll start working on that in haste once Sangihe gets moving. And we're a real mining company. It helps with the Aceh government to see that we actually are, a serious company. I mean, the company has been there for 10, 15 years and hasn't accomplished anything really yet. So, I mean, to really make them comfortable, I think it's important they see that we're actually, earning revenue.
Okay. Will you guys be exporting the doré from your mill, or will you be sending it to additional refining steps to get the final gold and silver out of the project?
It depends. We actually are talking with a Swiss company on a gold forward contract. In that case, we'd be refining it to quad nines. Antom, which is basically a state-owned company in Jakarta, has a refinery they'll refine it to 4 nines. We will refine it. We can refine it ourselves to 3 nines. But basically, you cannot export out of Indonesia unless you have 4 nines. And also, it's LBMA.
I got LBMA quality. Right. Gotcha.
Right. No, it's LBMA marked.
Oh,
Basically,
LBMA
they
mark.
you know, they actually have the mark.
Well, I think the LBMA needs help with their gold, so it may be good that you guys have that. Like, there's a little bit of a run on the exchanges right now with delivery on silver and gold. So definitely bullish for silver and gold prices going forward. So for investors who are, I get questions from investors all the time looking for those exploration or, pre-pour or just starting out junior producing companies, which ones they should look at. Tell investors why they should look at your company. What is the main benefit or main takeaway that people should
Well, actually, one of the
get?
main benefits, which a lot of people don't understand, is Indonesia. Indonesia is a low-cost jurisdiction. I mean, yes, they're not the same laws as Canada or Australia, but basically they do, deliver. I mean, if you understand, you need to be there to work it. You understand what people are talking about. You need to really understand you're a guest, and basically treat the people there fairly. In that case, you're taken really well care of. So basically, that gives you a lot of ground that's not available. And this kind of ground is gone in North America or in Australia a long time ago.
Yeah.
If you're looking for good ground like this, you have to go to Africa, Southeast Asia, like we're at, or maybe South America.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we've already got the hard part, getting the license done. I came in, this was kind of screwed up, the company. They pissed off the mining department, stuff like that. So we had to start from the beginning, bring in new people that the mining department liked. We basically been working closely with them, and they've been very, very responsive. If you're basically good to them, they take good care of you. So basically Indonesia is not that hard to work in if you basically focus on it. If you're trying to manage Indonesia from New York, you will fail. If you're trying to manage Indonesia from Singapore, you'll probably fail. You got to really be there. So basically, on top of that, we have a lot of upside in the way of drilling, but the main thing is we're going to be in production. We're aiming at 1,000 ounces a month to start. So let's say we get $1,800 that we have today. $200 cost is $1,100 a month. Basically, 1,000 ounces, that's $1.1 million free cash flow I got to play with.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking a drilling program on that one area that I told you about, which is from between two ore bodies. But this anomaly goes for another kilometer, but they didn't have any drill holes. So basically, it's to the next coast. So a 2-kilometer line that I have to drill is for 35,000 meters. Mm-hmm. The 35,000 meters, I can drill about 2 RC rigs in basically 6 months. And that, with 6 months program, and it's $55 a meter, including assay, because Indonesia is not that expensive. So basically, I could put 1 million ounces. We're planning to put 1 million ounces on the books. That's to include 835,000 inferred. Basically, and the indicated measure 1 million ounces. And that's without even counting all the land we have below us. We have the gold bearing, which is another, 60,000 acres.
Yeah.
So basically, so we have that upside as well.
So to sum it up, one of the main points investors should look at is your cost structure. And it's not going to be expensive for you guys to do the drilling, to expand your resource. It's not like a lot of these gold majors who are making these very expensive acquisitions just to get additional ounces.
Well, at the same time, if you go deep underground, it's going to cost you money. I mean, South Africa, it was the bee's knees for gold, but the whole thing is you have to keep going deeper and deeper to cost you more and more.
Yeah.
So basically, Indonesia, everything is at surface. No one's going very deep in Indonesia right now. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's more down below, but we still have, we have 16,000 islands. I mean, we basically are part of a gold reef that goes from Mindanao, Mindanao, Philippines, down to North Louis, Indonesia, and a big sea. We're right in the middle of that sea, and it came up through 20 volcanoes millions of years ago, all this gold. And our island is made of 3 volcanoes, one that's active, one's extinct, and one basically where we're at is a collapsed caldera, which blew up. This is the one where the gold came from. And we have this area, wide area with a lot of gold on it.
Okay, very good. It looks like Indonesia is one of the major producing gold countries in the world. I know a lot of investors don't know that. They typically
it's sixth in the world.
6th in the world. They're going to think China, of course. China does a lot. Australia.
China almost doesn't have any gold left. They've been mining like crazy, and economical gold. I mean, below the cost of the price of gold, they have very little, if any. I mean, I think they're probably paying more per ounce to mine the gold than what gold is. But they want to put that on the bottom line. So their entire thing is you buy every piece of gold and get every piece of gold and get their hands on.
So are there other mining outfits near you that have had success as well? What other companies are out there around you guys?
Basically, there's a company called MSM. MSM is actually they're all Indonesian. And the other is J Resources. G Resources, well, there's a G Resource with a G. Actually, a Hong Kong company. They actually have a mining operation in North Sulawesi. J Resources with a J, basically, they're actually a Indonesian IDX listed company. And they're worth $500 million, but they have about 6 mines in North Sulawesi. They're all heap leach like ours. And then there is MSM, which also has a very large mining operation there too. None of these are doing less than 60,000 ounces a year, and several are doing over 100,000 ounces a year.
Well, it looks like you guys are really under the radar right now. Hopefully, this interview will help you guys out and get you some attention. I know if you're dealing with that low cost structure, it could be a really good opportunity for people who are looking, say, in the United States, some Chinese projects, some other projects where they're not finding very economic gold. This sounds like a very economic gold project, and I guess that's why Sprott and Tocqueville Fund got involved when they did. Any last thoughts for you before we wrap up the video on what investors should pay attention to in 2020?
Yeah, I think look for people that are actually going to take gold to the ground. Drilling gold out is important, and I know that basically that's where a lot of, looking for the juniors, but until you get out of the ground, it doesn't count. And basically, it's getting, if you can get someone that's taken out of the ground and putting on the bottom line, that's where you're going to basically make your money. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of people, trying to find new projects for drilling, and there's a lot of that in Indonesia too. But basically, it's the ones that can take it out of the ground, the ones you focus on.
Okay. All right, Terry Filbert from East Asia Minerals Corporation. Thank you so much for joining us on Gold Silver.
Robert, thank you very much for having us.
We appreciate it.